Good morning. Today's the day. It's field day day. Got an agronomist here already. That's a good deal. Our corn plants weathered the overnight pretty well, actually. These look really good, so we'll have to dig into these a little bit more and pull some ears back and make some comparisons and stuff. But yeah, those look cool sitting there in front of the door. Oh, I'm doing a really crappy job filming for you guys. I'm sorry. I have a lot of trucks here. Not a lot of customers, though. A few. Mostly seed reps. Or company reps, I guess. It's okay. We've done the plot walkthrough. Going through some stuff inside. I'm back and forth between the house trying to get food ready. We got Brock over here cooking. Well, I didn't film it because I couldn't. I just was too busy and didn't work, and I was going to set up a time lapse. I didn't even do that. But field day has come and gone and left. How'd we do, Brock?
I cooked pork chops like no other. I tell you
what. And they were good. The pork chops were good. We had smoked pork chops, we had sweet corn, we had rice, we had scalloped potatoes, we had salad, we had watermelon, we had cookies, we had rolls. It was a great meal. Unfortunately, I did have more company reps here than we had customers. I think there was 12 reps. I'd have to go back and count them up. And 8 customers, 7 or 8, which is not nothing. It's not horrible. But there was a few guys that I was really hoping would make it. They couldn't. I don't know. Everybody's busy the end of August and in the morning. So maybe next year we'll try an evening. Maybe next year we won't do it. Maybe, I don't know. We'll figure it out. But it is what it is. So we got a little cleaning up to do. Take the tables down, get the food and stuff put away, which is mostly done. And we'll go figure out what we can do at the farm today. All set up for another one. The tables are even clean. Well, we did get rid of some of our stuff here. Not all of it, but a chunk of it. Although not the stuff that I really wanted to get rid of, like that clock and those grill kits and those popcorn things. But the shirt pile is a lot smaller than it was. We got rid of some rain gauges. Okay. A bunch of hats. That's good. Good deal. All right. I'm going to clean up some of this stuff, put it back over there on the pile, and most of these tables and chairs, I think, need to go down to my parents because they're having some stuff this weekend. Labor Day weekend, they're having a family get-together. So I think that's where that stuff needs to go. So no sense in putting it back away and then digging it out again. But, yeah, I don't have to do all this now. We'll go down to the farm and see what's going on here in a little bit. Actually, I'm going to do some plot tour stuff through my plot here shortly, I think. For you guys, my YouTube video. That's what we're going to try and do. All right. I have cleaned up what needed to be cleaned up. So I'm going to head down to the farm and see what's going on. I know Phil was working on a bin, I think. I think Brock is there. And still, see if they need any help with stuff. We'll worry about cleaning the rest of this stuff up later. I was thinking I'm still going to do a plot walkthrough video. I do those every year where I do kind of go through and just kind of do a virtual plot tour. We'll go through each hybrid and talk about stuff a little bit in the plot. I want to do that. I want it to be its own video. So we're not gonna do that in today's video, but either a day when I have nothing else going on or a weekend or something, we'll try and do that, but not today. Phil and Brock are working on our bin floor, trying to finish up this flashing that goes around the outside. So it takes 2 guys, one on the inside putting the nuts on and one on the outside putting the bolts in. It's like some of these bolts are behind that conduit there, making that a challenge to get them in and out. Putting new bolts in because the ceiling washers. So there's a washer in there that seals the slot so it doesn't get water in it, and they're only good one time, so you gotta put new bolts in when you replace this. Tile guys are moving right along here. Got a bunch of start holes dug. Found the old 8-inch main in there. And they're working on plowing in some laterals. Yeah. Cool, good deal. So there's another main that runs through here. He's digging some start holes now. The orange flags, or orange and white, is where the new tile are going to go. The white flags are where the existing laterals are. So you can see we're split in the middle there. here, they're actually gonna have to run both directions. This is kind of a pain in the butt job because they're not able to plow through that ridge there. And there's mains on both sides, so he's gonna have a short run up to the top of it to kind of where this other one stops. That's no fun. We'll watch the plow for a second. These guys are a little bit old school with their lasers instead of GPS for control, but it works. So now he's getting close to the end of the run because he's at the top of the ridge here, so he'll probably come out, cut the tile off, and then plow it out. How far he's gonna make it. Oh, it's got an automatic cutter. Oh, that is cool. Just did it. Dad's digging up stuff from where this is where they plowed that 8-inch main in last night. We had a couple of old stuff that it cut, and so he's been digging those up and fixing them. Did one over there. Appears to be doing another one right here. I'll help Dad dig this up a little bit here so he doesn't hit it with the backhoe and break something. There's a 4 in here he said we got to find, so that's what we're looking for. All right. There is the new 8, and at this white flag right here, heading that way to that white flag over there, there's a 4, and it runs this way. So he's trying to dig it up there and bring it over and tie it in. I don't know why not over here, but that's where he's doing it. So he's looking for that 4, and it's out a little farther. And he'll probably dig it out, and that's, well, it's okay. So we're gonna dig it up and cut it and redirect it anyway. Found it. Okay, well, Dad got that fixed, and he's just tying it into the new main there. What am I gonna do now? I don't know. It's interesting watching them and how our ground lays and changes in the elevation and stuff affect how their runs go. Because like you had them short ones there that had to cut off at the top of the hill, and then they're digging into the main and gonna have a short one going both directions. But the run he's on now is far enough up the hill there, or the valley I guess you would call it. He's able to run that one all the way through, and a much longer run back to the east end of the field here. So yeah, that's it's interesting to see how all this goes. Probably if they were starting over, they would lay these out a lot different and run, you know, up the valley instead of across the hills, so that they don't have all those short runs and stuff. But these guys, one of the reasons that we really like them and that, you know, they do our tiling for us and we have no interest in doing our own, is because they're willing to do this kind of stuff and to take a little bit of extra time to do it right and to save the existing tile that we have out here. I mean, we're using half as much tile because of the way that we're redoing this versus coming in and putting everything in on 25 or 30 foot spacings. Plus we're going to have essentially 22 and a halves now because the originals are 45s. We're putting the new ones on 45, splitting them, and well, that leaves us with a 22 and a half foot spacing, and it should drain really well. It should be one of our best tiled fields after we're done here. We can talk through these plants that we pulled yesterday, though. So let's do that. We'll start with these two. These were our source applied versus non-applied. That field right behind the barn there at home. So the source is it's the caffeine for microbes stuff that helps with nitrogen fixation, phosphorus solubility and availability, and some micronutrient availability in the plants. We sprayed this particular stuff at V5 with and without, and I don't know, this product, this source is probably something that I am more excited about than anything else that I have tried in a long time because of the visual difference that I am seeing above ground in the plants. Now, I can't sit here and tell you that what the yield difference is going to be, but man, does it look better. And it starts at the roots. This is the non-source root, and this is the source applied, and there is definitely more mass there. They're deeper, just made a huge difference. This is the one that had that sucker coming off of it. Remember I talked about in yesterday's video where all the plants in a row had them and they were starting to rob those nutrients to fill the ears out. And then when you start coming up and you look at the ear, and the difference is stark. It is, you know, we've got more rows around, more girth. I should count it up and see. This one is pretty long and filled out pretty well. The kernels on the tip are more developed here than these ones are. They're starting to abort off a little bit. They're going to make it, but they're just pretty small. Those kernels on the end versus these ones are more full there. So I expect to see a fairly significant yield difference, but we will know more when we combine it. But yeah, I'm excited about the source this year in my trials with that. These other 4 plants here we'll talk about all together. This is my standard practice versus high management trial, and we have 2 different hybrids that are different but showing similar things, I guess, to an extent. So over here we have 10L16. Now 10L16 we'll talk about more when we do a plot tour, but it is a very good product. It is one of my lead corn hybrids. It is one of our most sales volume hybrids, biggest sales volume, and has been very, very good performer. Agronomically, it's not very sound though. It doesn't seem like it should be as good a corn as it is. It has a small, compact root system. Now this is the standard practice. This is the high management, and high management means V5 fungicide, source at V5, Ag Explore foliar products at V5, Y-drop, tassel fungicide, VT fungicide, with Ag Explore products put in at VT as well. So we have pushed it. We've got some money invested into it. It needs to yield better, but we are seeing those visual differences in it, and it starts with the root mass. And that's the early season applications. That's the source and the foliars and stuff that we were putting on earlier. It's the Y-drop helping those roots to really expand and develop and be fuller, and that is good. We like that. Moving up from there, a little hard to tell probably in the video, but we do have some stalk thickness, some stalk diameter increases over here, which is good. And then you move up to the ear, and neither of them are bad. Like, this is not a bad ear. This one is a little bit bigger. So 10L flexes. It has a tremendous amount of ear flex. And you'll see we've got just a little bit of tip back in this one, a little bit more in this one, but overall length of grain is going to be much bigger on this ear than it is on this one. And I think that's where our yield difference is going to come from. The other thing we're probably going to notice is if we break these in half, the kernel depth is going to be much higher on this one, or much deeper than over here. This other hybrid is 10B61, and it is a new one for me this year, and so we are just sort of learning about this. It has a much bigger, fuller root system, much more penetrating. You can see how these brace roots, these nodal roots up here, just kind of dive right down into the soil instead of kind of working out on an angle to the side like this one over here kind of tended to do. And so we really like the roots on this one. And whether there's a ton of difference between these two, let's see which one is which. Yeah, this one is the high management. This is the standard practice one. You don't see as much. You do notice the thickness of the stalk again. Much more girth over here. This one's going to stand better if we happen to get some late season wind or something. Down corn is no fun. You like big, thick stalks to help protect against that. The big noticeable thing here is, again, the girth of the ear, the diameter of it. Whether that's depth of kernels, rows around, all of the above, I don't know. I need to count that one up. That's probably a 20 around row or ear. Again, this is not bad. This is better. We have similar tip back on both of them. That I'm told is genetic on this hybrid. It is just going to tip back. It's just what it's going to do. And so that's not necessarily a bad thing. Just because you see that doesn't mean that it is a bad thing. There's a hybrid out here in the plot that doesn't have any tip back. It's nice to see. It's fun to look at. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a good thing. So anyway, that's what we found with the plants that we dug up yesterday. It was a really good demo to have, especially that one over there with the source. I was wrong. That's 18 around, and so is that one. They have the same number of kernel rows. That's all in depth. The size of the kernels, which is an important factor when we're figuring out yields. So, when I do my yield calculations, I start with dividing by 90,000 kernels in a bushel, and I'll a lot of times calculate it at 80,000 as well. This may be a case where this one's 90 and this one's 75, or maybe this one's 100 and this one's 80. I don't know, but I imagine there's going to be some yield difference from that right there. So, all right, what else? Been hanging out in the office here for a little bit, and I'll show you what I'm working on in there. But it looks like it's gonna rain. All right, the window's down in my truck, so I'm gonna put it up before it gets soaked. I mean, we're not wet or dry. We don't really need the rain, but it's really gonna hurt anything. We'll take it. Got sidetracked in there. I didn't get to show you what I was working on. Maybe I'll pull it up at home on my computer there. There's too many people in the office. Anyway, it did rain a little bit. Still sprinkling some. I think we only got a tenth or so. Not a lot, but hey, it's something. Yeah. Back to work tomorrow. Pretty well done with field day stuff. I don't know what exactly we have to do. I have a couple of small projects that need to get done. We need to winterize our irrigation traveler. So we might work on that tomorrow. We'll see if Phil needs help with the grain bin floor. Try and get that project wrapped up. And I don't think I need to help him with the tiling at all or anything. But yeah, we got stuff to do. So thanks for watching today. If you have any questions and comments, leave them down below. And we'll see you again tomorrow. If I do some more stuff at home, we'll just keep adding on to this video. See ya. The good thing about poor turnout at a field day, excellent leftovers for a while. Okay, I walked out here to the seed warehouse because I wanted to grab this brochure. So, like I told my seed customers today at the field day, I've started working with a couple of new companies. Obviously, that Sound Ag and the Source is one of them, and I've shown you guys that stuff. I've been working with Ag Explorer for a couple of years, but I had another one approach me earlier this summer. Called Pattern Ag, and basically I'm really bad at saying no, unlike my seed customers. That's what I told them, right? So basically this company does some predictive soil analytics, or predictive analytics based on a soil sample, and it's really cool. And I told them, hey, I'd like to try this and see how it works and stuff, and they said, well, you might as well just sign up to be a dealer then. And again, I don't say no, so I signed up for it. So yeah, I'm still trialing it, but I think it's really cool. So what they do is they pull a soil sample, and then they have this, they actually analyze the DNA that's present in the soil to come up with a whole list here of different pathogens or things that may affect our crops in the future, such as Fusarium, Pythium, Phytophthora, Rhizoctonia, Gibberella, soybean brown stem rot, white mold, soybean cyst nematode, corn rootworm, sudden death syndrome. All of that kind of stuff is stuff that they can say, yeah, you're at a high risk or a low risk for that. They can do stuff with some of the microbial activity in the soil to say how much potential nitrogen fixation there's going to be, phosphorus solubilization, that kind of stuff, which is really neat. My big question was, okay, what am I going to do with that data? And the more I think about it, the more I realize that, yeah, there's some actionable stuff here, right? So if you have, like, pick the easy one, right? If you have high rootworm pressure, you're going to plant a rootworm-treated corn or maybe add some insecticide to it. They just added tar spot to this list. It's not on this brochure, but they added that. I just got an email about it last week. So I can plant tar spot resistant hybrids. The white mold one is really interesting to me. Some of the diseases like SDS, if it's highly likely that we'll have SDS in the soil, the DNA is present, that would say maybe we should be using Saltro in our seed treatment stuff. So there is some stuff that we can do with it. And so I'm trying this, and yeah, so that's what I was working on the computer, and I'll grab the computer here and kind of just walk you through a little bit of what it looks like, I guess. So I already went ahead and put our fields in here and stuff, and I think I can still show you kind of what it looks like. For example, this field. So So this is a field of ours where it's along the river. It's got some sand ground, but it's got some heavy river bottom stuff and just a little bit of different, come on, a little bit of different soil types and stuff. And we've had some disease pressure in the past there. It is going to corn next year, and so that's not what I wanted. Hold on, let me see if I can pull up this sampling plan. There we go. All right, so this is the field outline, and we're basically doing this in 10-acre zones and grids for right now. If it's something that we do in the future more so, I'll probably try and have it match the zones that our crop consultant is using when they're pulling soil samples, and just have them pull the sample for this as well. But so essentially we ended up with 6 zones at a 10.8 acre density in this particular field. And so like back here is the river bottom ground. There's a sand ridge that kind of runs across here, and then this is heavier but higher ground that's not as drought or flood prone as the stuff back here. And we thought it would be interesting to see what kind of results we get there. So this is just some of the data on it that we're going to do the sampling this fall. Dad said he would take care of it. So, and then this is the test that we want them to do. There's 3 different levels, kind of. There's the pressure only, which is just your cyst nematode, corn rootworm, and something else. And then the complete bio kind of adds all those other things that we were talking about. The pattern 360 basically just adds nutrients into it. So most of their test does not include, your fertility analysis and stuff. By doing the pattern 360, it includes all of that information, and it only adds $1 in cost per acre. So we just went ahead and did that for testing purposes this year. I probably won't need that in the future because that's what my crop consultant does, so we don't really need that. But anyway, so that's the plan. So I put together 3 fields that we're going to try and have them do that on. Let me show you some results from one that I got on here. So I have one field that I've already gotten results back from on my account, and it's actually one that my agronomist had sent in because he was seeing a problem in a field, wasn't sure what it was, and said, well, let's have these guys test the soil and see what's out there. And so this was really interesting. Pythium is the one that was kind of elevated risk. Phytophthora, there was a slight, but still not relatively low, but chance there. Sudden death, soybean stem canker. Really interesting. Soybean cyst nematode at a 0 here. They didn't find any. White mold, they didn't find any. A lot of things that were very, very low risk. So it gives you that kind of breakdown, and then you can kind of go through and see individual ones with their recommendations. So like Pythium, let the soil dry and warm before planting, apply an increased rate of seed treatments. Some seed treatments are really good at Pythium, and so using the right ones there. And I could go in and edit that recommendation for customers just to try and help, give my opinions on what stuff should be, what stuff you could do to help alleviate some of the issues. So that was really cool. Let's see what else is on here. Some of the diseases and stuff, this field was at a high risk for Goss's wilt, which is a little surprising because, well, we're in Ohio. But yeah. And then this is the biofertility one. Now this one's a little bit different because some of these you actually want, like P solubilization. You actually want there to be a lot of that happening in your soil. And so the higher, the better for this one. Now when you get over here to some of these, the denitrification activity and stuff, you actually want those to be lower. So this particular field is at a risk for losing nitrogen if it's wet soils and stuff. You get a lot of anaerobic activity. Some of these other ones that you would like to see are kind of low. It's nitrogen, soybean nitrogen fixation, like definitely should be using a inoculant when they're planting those beans, kind of thing. So pretty cool data that you get out of it. You just have to do something with it, right? So he did not get nutrient analysis, didn't need it on that one. So that's why there's no results there. But this is this the chart? No, somewhere there was another chart that showed it really well. Maybe it was here. Oh, yeah, here. So here's where it shows the harmful biomarkers that you want to be low. Here's the beneficial ones that you want to be high, kind of thing that I was just talking about. So anyway, I thought it was cool, and we're going to try some of it this year. This is one of those things that I don't care where you're at. They will do the sampling if you want, or you can pull your own samples and send them into the lab. So if it's something that you might be interested in, let me know. I'll put your fields in there. We can import boundaries from my John Deere, from Climate Field View, from some Case IH thing that I've never heard of before. You can upload shapefiles. You can hand draw them. You can do it however needs to be done. Get them in there. And I need to sell 4,000 acres worth by tomorrow. So hook me up, YouTube. Help me out.